Hello and good morning to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well and all of you are in good health. So, in today's class, we'll be talking about hybrid inheritance. Now, hybrid inheritance, which is also called as virtual inheritance, is a type of inheritance that is created from combination of other types of inheritance. For an example, combination of multiple inheritance with hierarchical inheritance would result in hybrid inheritance. So here we have a very simple example. So we have two base classes F and G. So from base class F, class B is being derived. Subsequently from class B, class A and class C is being derived. Whereas from class F and class G, class E is being derived. So this is a typical example of hybrid inheritance or virtual inheritance. Now let us try to understand hybrid inheritance with the help of a very simple example. Now here I have a class student wherein we have data members and member function. The data members are placed in the protected section of the class and the member functions are placed in the public section of the class. We have one data member, that is roll number, and we have two member functions which are get roll number and put roll number. So then we have created definition for get roll number that will read the value of the roll number, and we have created the definition put roll number that will display the roll number of a given student. Then from class student we have derived a class sessional and the mode of derivation is public. So here what we have done is we have derived a class student we have derived a class sessional from the class student and the mode of derivation is public. Now along with the inherited data member and the member functions, it has its own data members and member functions. The data members are marks 1 and marks 2 and the member functions are get marks and put marks. So the data members are placed in the protected section of the class and the member functions are placed in the public section of the class. Now we have created a definition for get marks and put marks. So get marks will read the marks obtained by the student, whereas put marks will display the marks that is obtained by the student. Now what we have done is we have declared a class extracurricular. Now extracurricular class is a class that has data members and member functions. The data members are placed in the protected section of the class and the member functions are placed in the public section of the class. We have a single data member, that is score, and we have two member functions which are get score and put score. Subsequently, we have created a definition for get score that will read the value of score, and we have created a definition for put score that will display the value of the score. Now from the class sessional and extracurricular, we have derived a class result. So result is a class that's being derived from sessional and extracurricular, and the mode of derivation here, as we know, is public. So we have derived a class result from sessional and extracurricular, and the mode of derivation is public. But you need to remember that sessional was derived from class student. So in addition to whatever it has inherited, it has data members and it has member function. Now data member, we have a single data member, that is average, and we have member function calculate average and display average. So then we have created a function definition for calculate average that will find the sum of marks 1, marks 2 and score and divided by 3. So marks 1 and marks 2, it is inherited from sessional, and score it is inherited from extracurricular class. Subsequently, we have displayed the result of the displayed the value of the average using the display average function that belongs to the result class. So now just see here what we have done. We have declared an object of type result. We have declared an object of type result, where result is being derived from sessional and extracurricular. Likewise, sessional is being derived from student. So object is a obj is an object of class result, where result is derived from sessional and extracurricular. Subsequently, sessional is derived from student. So here, using obj, we have made a reference to get roll number and put roll number. So get roll number and put roll number are the methods that it has inherited from student class through the sessional class. Get marks and put marks are the methods that it has inherited from that it has inherited from sessional class, right? Okay, and get score and put score are the methods that it has inherited from the extracurricular class, and calculate average and display average are its own member functions. So you see, this is a very typical example of hybrid inheritance, or how we can implement hybrid inheritance. Now let us try to understand ambiguity that may be associated with hybrid inheritance. Now let us consider that we have created a hybrid inheritance or virtual inheritance by combining hierarchical inheritance and multiple inheritance. Now if you see a portion of this particular diagram where B and C are being inherited from A, so it's an example of multiple inheritance. And if you see B and C, D being inherited from B and C, this is an example of Oh, sorry. B and C being inherited from A is an example of hierarchical inheritance, where D being inherited from B and C is an example of multiple inheritance. So here we have created a combination of hierarchical inheritance and multiple inheritance. So hierarchical inheritance, B and C being derived from A, and multiple inheritance, D being derived from B and C. Now, whenever B and C will be derived from A, properties of A will be inherited by B and C. Now, let us consider the property that is being inherited by B and C is A. So, A is inherited by B as well as A is inherited by C. So, along with its own properties, it will have A that it has inherited from class A. So B will have its own property B, and it will have a property that is it has inherited, that is A. C will have its own property and a property that it has inherited from A. So B will have its own property, that is B and A. C will have its own property C and A. Now when class D is derived from B and C, now what will D have? D will have property of B and C both, wherein B has property of itself and property of A, as well as C has property of itself and property of A. That means whenever class D will be derived from B and C, there will be a single instance of B, single instance of C, and two instances of A. Now this will result in an ambiguity or confusion, right? Now this is one of the problem that is associated with hybrid inheritance. So here we have single instance of B, single instance of C, whereas two instances of A in case of class D. So this is what we need to prevent. So in order to overcome that, we have a concept of virtual base class, right? Okay, so virtual base class is used in hybrid inheritance in a way for preventing multiple instances of a given class appearing in inheritance hierarchy when we are using multiple inheritance. So virtual base class is used in order to prevent multiple instances of a given class appearing in the inheritance hierarchy. So this ambiguity can be prevented with the help of virtual base class. Now let us try to understand it with the help of an example. So here I have a class student where a student has data members and member function. The data members are placed in the protected section. The member functions are placed in the public section of the class. The data member is roll number and the member function are get roll number and put roll number. So we have a created definition for get roll number and put roll number here, right? Now what we have done is we have derived a class sessional from the base class student. Now along with the inherited members, it has its own data members and member functions. So data member is placed in the protected section and the member functions are placed in the public section. The data members are marks 1 and marks 2 and the member functions are get marks and put marks. So we have created a definition for get marks and put marks here. So this will read and display the marks obtained by the student. Now we have a class extracurricular. Now extracurricular is a class that is being derived from class student again. Okay, right? Class student again here. So extracurricular is a class that is being derived from class student, and the mode of derivation is public, and it has two data member it has data members and member functions. The data members are placed in the protected section and the member functions are placed in the public section. The data member is score and the member functions are get score and put score. Now one important thing that you need to notice here in case of extracurricular class and the sessional class is the base class from where the sessional class is derived and the base class from where the extracurricular class is derived is kept as virtual, right? So it is placed as virtual public student in case of sessional class, as well as it is placed as virtual public student in case of extracurricular class. Now, what does this particular concept facilitate is it facilitates that only one instance of the member is taken forward in the inheritance hierarchy. So this is very much important. So if we keep the base class a virtual base class, then virtual base class ensures that only one instance of the member is taken into consideration in case of inheritance hierarchy. So this is the reason why we need to keep the base classes virtual. So here also, so here in case of sessional as well, we have kept the base classes virtual, and in case of extracurricular as well we have kept the base classes virtual. So now we have created a definition for the member functions of the extracurricular class here, right? Now we have created a class result, right, that is derived from sessional and extracurricular. Now sessional and extracurricular both are derived from student, right? So in order to prevent multiple instances of the members or the base class being reflected in the derived class, we have kept the base class is virtual in case of sessional as well as extracurricular. So that will prevent multiple instances of base classing appearing in the derived class. So here to see, we have created a class result which is derived from sessional and extracurricular. So sessional and extracurricular both are derived from the student class and the mode of derivation is public. So in addition to whatever it has derived, it has its own data members and member function. The data members are placed in the protected section and the member functions are placed in the public section. The data members, we have a single data member that is average, and we have two member function that is calculate average and display average. So then we have defined the calculate average and display average function here, right? So since the base class was kept as virtual whenever sessional and extracurricular class was inherited, so it will help us in preventing multiple instances of the base class appearing in the derived class. So here now what we have is we have object of the result class being declared. So we are referring to get roll number and put roll number of the student class that it has inherited through the inheritance hierarchy, and then we have made a reference to get marks and put marks that belongs to sessional class. Then we have made a reference to get score and put score that belongs to extracurricular class, and then eventually we have made a reference to calculate average and display average that belongs to itself, right? So this is the way how what we can do is we can implement hybrid inheritance and resolve problems that may be associated with hybrid inheritance in forms of ambiguity. So in today's class, what we have learned about is we have learned about what is hybrid inheritance, right? Okay, we have learned about what is hybrid inheritance, how to create hybrid inheritance, and we have learned about hybrid inheritance with the help of a very simple example. And then we have learned about what is the ambiguity that is associated with hybrid inheritance. And we have learned about the importance of virtual base class. And we have learned about how to resolve the ambiguity using virtual base class. And we have tried to understand it with the help of a very simple example where we have kept the base class as virtual base class in order to prevent multiple instances of the base class appearing in the derived classes. So in the next class, what we'll be learning about is we'll be learning about abstract class, and then we'll be moving forward. So thank you very much. Have a very good day and stay safe.